Hey, algebra students, welcome to another week of virtual learning. I hope everyone had a great Monday off. Hopefully you got some rest. So as we get ready to test on Friday, I just wanted to go over a few more problems with you, maybe some reminders of things that you learned last year just to refresh in your memory. So I'm going to bring up some problems over here. All right, so if you are given a line, so first of all, let me start from scratch, okay? So if you have a linear equation, that simply means when you graph the equation, it forms a straight line. So when you have a straight line on a graph, four things can happen. Either your line will go up and to the right, and that means you have a positive slope. So my crazy pen will throw out these straight lines, these horizontal lines. I don't know why it's doing that. We'll just ignore them, okay? All right, so either you can have a positive slope or you can have a negative slope, a line that goes down and to the right. So those two things that can happen, or you can have a vertical line, and the slope of vertical lines are the slope of vertical lines is undefined, or you can have a horizontal line. Look at his little dimples, right? His little dimples tell you the slope of horizontal lines is 0. The slope of horizontal lines is 0. Okay, so look at my guy. That's Mr. Slope Guy. If you'll remember what his face looks like, it'll tell you what the slope of straight lines is. I'm having a hard time with my language arts skills today. All right, so let's look at number 4. So just remember, when you do have a line that's graphed, one way to find the slope is to create a right triangle. And we think of the form rise over run. So, oh, there's that line again. It's driving me crazy. Why is it doing that? All right, so how tall is my right triangle? It's 1, 2, 3, 4 units tall. How wide is the bottom? It's 1, 2, 3, 4 units wide. So my rise is 4, my run is 4, so that simplifies to 1. And then you always double check your line and say, okay, is this going up and to the right, or is it going down and to the right? Since it's going up and to the right, it's positive 1. All right, let's look at number 6 down here. We're going to make our right triangle. How tall is it? It's 1, 2, 3 units tall. The width at the bottom is 1, 2, 3, 4. So rise goes on top, rise over run. So our slope is 3 over 4. And then glance back at it. Is it going up and to the right or down and to the right? Well, down and to the right, which means it has a negative slope of 3 over 4. Number 5 has a negative slope. And number 7 over here has a positive slope, right? All right, we're not going to do all of these, but like I said, so either positive or negative, and the other two types of lines are either vertical or horizontal, right? So obviously I can't make a right triangle with either 8 nor 9. So I just have to remember either Mr. Slope Guy. I'll remember there's his eyes, here's his nose, and a U, which reminds me the slope of a vertical line is undefined. And what about his mouth? He's not smiling or frowning. He's just like that. What is that expression? Emotionless. All right, so those zeros at the end of his mouth, or his dimples, tell us that the slope is 0. If you want to go fast on your bike, are you going to go on a hill with that has steepness, or are you going to go on a flat road? Well, you're not going to go to a flat road because there's no slope. The slope is 0. All right, so let me show you 2 examples. So we're not going to do all these, but if you have 2 points and you want to find the slope, you're going to remember, oh, I almost wrote that back. I almost wrote that wrong. Let me get rid of that. All right, let's remember our slope formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So take any of these points, it doesn't matter. Let's do number 10, xy, xy. And we'll call this set number 1, set number 2. It doesn't matter which is 1 and which is 2. You just got to be consistent. So if I want to find the slope to number 10, I'm going to take my second y value, which is 2, subtract my first y value, which is 4. All right, on the bottom, I'm going to take my second x, which is negative 12, subtract, make sure you don't leave out that subtraction sign, especially when the other number is a negative, like this one. That's a common mistake. All right, what do I do when I see minus a negative? I do bam, 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 bam. So now 2 minus 4 is negative 2. Negative 12 plus 8 is negative 4. A negative divided by a negative is a positive, and I simplify that to positive 1/2. So the slope for number 10 is 1/2. All right, so I want to show you mathematically why on number 8 we got a slope of 0, and on number 9 we got a slope of undefined. Because if I use that formula and I'm going to plug in my, oh my goodness, stop it. My second y value, which is 5, minus my first y value, which is 4, over my second x value, which is negative 2, minus my first x value, which is negative 2. All right, what do I do when I see a minus a negative? Bam, bam. All right, so to find the slope, I'll do 5 minus 4, which is 1. I changed the slide. My pen just turns off whenever it wants to. 5 minus 4 is 1. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. All right, now get your calculator and plug this problem in. 1 divided by 0. 1 divided by 0. Type your 1 in first. 1 divided by 0. What does your calculator say? My calculator says I made an error. My calculator does not understand that because you cannot divide by 0. So 1 divided by 0 is actually undefined. So if I graphed those 2 points on number 16, if I graphed those 2 points and I connected the dots, I would get a vertical line. So negative 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 is right there. Negative 2, 5 is up here. Oh, it's up there. So anyway, if I graph those, I get a straight line vertical, and the math tells me that the slope is undefined. Undefined. All right, what about number 17? I bet this is a horizontal line. I bet it is. All right, so let's try our formula, y2 minus y1. We're going to take our second y. We're going to subtract our first y. We're going to take our second x, and we're going to subtract our first x. Bam, bam. 4 minus 4 is 0 over 2. Now, this time, take your calculator, and I want you to divide 0 divided by 2. Put your 0 in first. And does your calculator say no, error? No, it does not. It says the answer is a real answer. The answer is 0. So the slope is 0. And if I graph that, I'm going to get a positive line. What am I saying? A horizontal line. Okay, so I just wanted to show you why mathematically the slopes are 0 and undefined, okay? So these are just good example problems. If you have an equations already put in slope-intercept form like these, it's easy to pick out the slope and the y-intercept, right? The number being multiplied by x is the slope, and the number not multiplied by x is the y-intercept. If you told me the y-intercept is just 6, that would be okay, but technically it's an ordered pair. Technically it's 0, 6. Number 18, my slope is negative 8/3, right? And my y-intercept is 0, negative 3. What about 20? The 6 is which one? Well, it's being multiplied by x. So it's going to be the slope. Now, I don't see a y-intercept, which means it has to be, well, if I add something to this without changing the value, the only thing I could add is 0, right? So my y-intercept is 0, 0. And then look at number 17 or even 21. I don't see a number on 21. I don't see a number being multiplied by x. So what is the slope? It's positive 1, right? 1 times x is positive 1. What's the slope on 17? Negative 1. And then my y-intercept is 0, 2. Uh-oh, my pen turned off. You can come here. Hey, I'm just making a quick video. You want me to come see you when I'm done? Okay. Well, you'll be recorded, so I'll come to you. Alrighty. All right, guys. So I just wanted to review those for you real quick. Now, obviously, you guys, I shouldn't say obviously, because it may not be obvious. Hopefully, you guys can quickly graph a line just straight from the equation. So just as a reminder, the y-intercept tells you where to start. So I'm going to start at the y-intercept, which is 0, negative 1. Oh, those lines. All right, so 0, negative 1 is right here. And then this tells me I'm going to rise 2, run 5. And it's positive, so I know my line needs to be going up and to the right. So I'm going to rise 2. I'm going to run positive 5. I'm going to go to the right 5. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then let's everyone pretend I can make a straight line. What? That was really good, you guys. All right, so if you need more review with graphing those lines, let me know, okay? All right, but really what I wanted to get to is, I guess we can do one of these. I don't think we'll need to though. Do we need to do this? Let's do this one at least. All right, so I see that my line goes through this point here. And I see that my line goes through, it's hard to tell, but it's hard to tell. It kind of misses this corner. Do you see that? It's not exactly in that corner, so I'm going to go way up here because I know that goes exactly in that corner right there. You understand what I'm talking about? I'm looking for an exact corner. So I'm going to make a big old right triangle. So first of all, is this a positive slope or negative slope? Going up and to the right, correct? All right, so let's see what our rise is. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. So it did not go through this point. It was very close, but that is not an exact coordinate. It's off the corner. All right, so anyway, so the rise over run, so the slope is 8/5. And then my y-intercept is what? 0, negative 4. So if I put all that together and write an equation, it's going to be y equals 8/5 x minus 4. Just a good reminder to you. All right, so really what I wanted to get to is this screen right here. So one way to remember vertical and horizontal lines is thinking of this German sounding phrase. It probably doesn't sound like German at all. VUX HOY, VUX HOY. Of course, HOY is what, today in Spanish, I think. All right, so if you'll remember VUX HOY, it'll help you remember everything you need to know about vertical and horizontal lines. So as soon as you see a vertical or a horizontal line, think, oh, well, that's a VUX HOY equation. So what does the V mean? The V means vertical. A vertical line. What does the U mean? The U means it has an undefined slope. What does the X mean? The X means there's only an X in the equation. Only an X in the equation. No Y can be found in a vertical equation. All right, so that's VUX, vertical undefined X in the equation. And then we have the word HOY. HOY means it's a horizontal line like this one right there. Or that crazy red line that my pen is drawing. What does the O mean? It actually means 0 slope. The O means 0. And what does the Y mean? Only a Y is in the equation. There's no X at all. There's no X in horizontal lines. There's no Y in vertical lines. Okay? So if you can remember that, it'll help you keep vertical and horizontal lines straight. So once again, another way to write it, vertical undefined X in the equation, horizontal, zero slope, y in the equation. So this one didn't have a math problem. So let's say I told you x equals 4. Well, do I use VUX or HOY? Well, obviously VUX because it has an x in it. That means I'm going to have a vertical line. It's going to have an undefined slope because there's only an x in the equation. So I'm going to come over here where x is 4, which is right there, and I'm going to make a vertical line. A vertical line anywhere on that line. It would go forever in both directions. So that is x equals 4. All right, what if I gave you y equals -2? Oh my goodness, stop it. Y equals -2. If I write fast, maybe it won't write it. Coffee break. Ah, so good, so good. All right, so I'm going to come down here to where y is -2 on the y-axis, and I'm going to make a horizontal line anywhere I want to on it. Okay, so let's say that I'm given an coordinate as in 5, 3. And I know my line has a slope of 0. So this is a kind of problem that you might see. If I have a point that goes through, or I have a point at 5, 3, and I'm told that my slope is 0, what is the equation of the line? Well, 0 makes me come up here. 0 goes with HOY, doesn't it? So that tells me if I have a 0 slope, it means it's a horizontal line, and only a y is in the equation. Well, I'm going to look at my y value, and it's 3, which means my equation must be y equals 3. It's not going to be y equals 5 because that's the x value. And it's not going to be x equals 3 because x goes with vertical lines, which have undefined slopes. So at 5, 3 is right here. And I know my line would look like this because it has a 0 slope. Okay? Does that make sense? I hope it does. All right, so let's look at number 9. So here we have a horizontal line. So the question is, what is the slope? Horizontal. I'm thinking of HOY. Horizontal. The slope is 0. Or I guess I could just write the number 0. And then it asks, what's the y-intercept? Well, the y-intercept is right there. What is that coordinate? It's 0, -3. 0, -3. And then finally, it asks me, what is the equation of the line? Well, this tells me there's only a y in the equation. So every point on this line has the same y value. What is the y value? The y value is -3. Y equals -3. That's the whole equation. Because isn't this point right here -4, -3? This one is -3, -3, -2, -3, 0, -3, 2, -3. So no matter what the x value is, y is equal to -3. Got it? All right, let's look at the next one. Here we have a vertical line. So I'm thinking of VUX. So the question is, what is the slope? Well, the slope is undefined. That's what the U means, undefined. The y-intercept, does this line ever cross the y-axis? Never. There isn't one. There is not a y-intercept. And so what is the equation of the line? Uh-oh, this is incorrect because I'm not going to have a y equals for vertical lines, am I? I'm going to have an x equals. X equals what? Well, what is the x value? The whole line has an x value of what? -1. That is the equation. X equals -1. All right, that's it. Did you hit your target? I can write the equation of a line in slope-intercept form from a graph. All right, so I hope that helped you guys. I hope that was a good reminder for those of you that maybe needed a little, needed someone to remind you about horizontal and vertical lines. So anyway, so as you guys go through your lesson today and this week, you know, refer back to this if it helps you. I hope it does. And I will see you guys soon.